So what happens when you take the gun out of gun violence? Yep, still got violence. Hey guys, this is Tim, and this is Guns Uncensored.
Gun violence is the leading cause of murder in South Africa.
It's bad. 30 people being shot and killed every single day. Our name says what we're about. Our long-term vision is to see a society without guns.
So, you've got the number being thrown around that there's 30 people that are murdered with guns every day. That's fine. That's a fact. We cannot get away from that. We can't disprove it either. The facts are the facts. But there are also other facts that on average there are 43 murders per day that aren't firearm related. That's 10 more than guns. And in total, if you add them all together, 74 people are killed in South Africa every single day. 74 people. That's unacceptable. The statistic has become a reproachful emblem in South Africa's anti-gun ideology, and for years we've just accepted this data point as gospel truth. The majority of us, or the majority of the country, accept that this is the truth. It may well be that firearms are a choice weapon for criminals in this country, but I'm going to argue that firearms are not the leading cause of murder in this country. And now with the recent release of the fourth quarterly crime statistics by SAPS, I've got a year's worth of data that I've looked at, and I've picked up some discrepancies in this. Certain things have been omitted. I don't think it's purposefully done by SAPS. I think it's just how they've done things always. But we're going to take a look at these numbers. So I'm going to read to you guys out of an article that I wrote. It's due to be published soon. I'll post links up when it is published. But the title of the article is that firearms are not the leading cause of murder in South Africa, SAPS data reveals. In recent years, the debate surrounding gun violence and its impact on crime rates in South Africa has been a topic of concern. However, thorough analysis of the crime statistics by the South African police has challenged the prevailing belief that firearms are the leading cause of murder in the country. The findings shed light on the multifaceted nature of violence and underscore the need to address underlying factors that contribute to crime. Examining the quarterly crime statistic, it becomes evident that certain organizations such as Gun Free South Africa have played a significant role in shaping public discourse. While the interviews and presentations have gained attention, it is important to note and to critically evaluate the statistics they present. In February 2023, Gun Free South Africa's report made headlines with the claims that gun violence was the primary cause of murder in South Africa. Upon reviewing the data, the first quarter, it appeared that their assertions might hold some merit. And I'll put the stats for that first quarter up. It turns out in the first quarter, April to June 2022-2023, the amount of people that were killed by a firearm in South Africa was 2,766. The amount of people killed by knives, 935, sharp instruments, 445, blunt instruments, 231, body parts, 128, stone, brick or rock, 100. During this period, the statistics revealed that a staggering 2,766 deaths resulted from firearms-related incidents. And this is murder. This led to concern regarding the effectiveness of law enforcement efforts and the overall state of public safety, for me anyway. However, rather than viewing this as a reason to abandon firearms, it served as a reminder to remain vigilant and prepared in case of emergency. It's worth noting that a forensic pathologist previously mentioned to me that they observed a higher incidences of stabbing wounds than gunshot wounds, and that's in their specific area. More recently, the fourth quarter crime report prompted a closer examination of data, although something seems amiss. I looked at the crime stats over the period from the first to third quarter, so that's April 2022 right through to March 2023. And the analysis revealed that a certain category of data were omitted from reporting due to probably uncertainties surrounding the cause of death as determined by SAPS. The discrepancy was consistently observed across all 4 quarters. Consequently, it became evident that firearms were not the leading cause of murder. On the contrary, the majority of murders in South Africa were committed by means other than firearms. And how did I get to this number? Well, here is the data. I'm going to put up that on screen for everyone. Upon considering the complete data set, including other means as a category, the figures demonstrated that firearms were involved in 43% of the murders in the first quarter, 40% during the second quarter, 42% during the third quarter, and 42% during the fourth quarter. However, when the other categories were combined, it became apparent that these means accounted to 50% of the murders in the first quarter, 60% in the second quarter, 58% in the third quarter, and 58% in the fourth quarter. Consequently, the claim that firearms were leading the cause of murders in South Africa was unfounded. If we look at these numbers, if you take it and this is how I got to it. I looked at the first quarter, well, each quarter, for example, and they give a category of means or instruments used in murder in South Africa, and they give you the numbers. So in the first quarter, firearms added up to 2,766, knives 935, sharp instruments 445, blunt instruments 231, body parts 128, and stone brick rocks 100. If you add those numbers up, they do not add to the total of 6,424 of the total murders that were committed in that 90-day period. There's a discrepancy of 1,819, and that discrepancy is what I worked out in each quarter. And these, as I said before, are probably someone just found dead on the side of the road and they can't find cause. It's maybe a forensic pathology that's knocked back because our forensic services have gone to shit. So these numbers in each quarter, I've called them other means, and you can see that on screen. In the first quarter, it's 1,819. In the second quarter, it's 2,283. In the third quarter, it's 1,913. And in the fourth quarter, 1,774. So this is quite significant. If you add the numbers together, and in the fourth quarter, we had 6,289 total murders. The people that were murdered with firearms were 2,629. Those that were murdered by means other than a firearm, 3,660. Third quarter, total with firearms, 3,144. Without, 4,411. Second quarter, 2,808 with firearms. Without firearms, 4,196. First quarter, 2,766 with firearms, and without firearms 3,658. This paints a very different picture, and it tells me that making this claim that guns are the leading cause of murder in South Africa is incorrect. It's not the case. At the face of it, it looks like people do choose guns to murder people. That's just what it is. But it's incorrect to say that firearms are the leading cause of murder. We have a serious homicide problem in this country, and whether people have guns or not, they're still going to kill people, and this is quite evident in places like the UK. In the UK, they've had an outright gun ban for a long time, and they're struggling on a day-to-day basis with knife violence. People are always going to find a way to kill someone else if they have to.
Every 14 minutes, there's a knife crime across England and Wales.
What that guy was like? Yeah.
There's been a lot of knife crime. I've had 3 murders in the last couple of weeks.
In London, knife crime is up 34% in a year, with more than 13,000 offences.
So this persistence of the perception that firearms are the primary cause of murder in South Africa can be attributed to probably a few factors. High-profile crimes in South Africa usually involve firearms. So things like gang shootings, robberies, people being murdered, celebrities being murdered, tend to receive an extensive media coverage. And it creates this inflated perception of prevalence. Media outlets often tend to emphasize stories about gun violence. It contributes further to public perception. Individuals with an ideological opposition to firearms may exaggerate their role in crime due to their belief that firearms should be banned outright. And I can tell you now, there's an old saying, and I remember my dad telling me this when I was young. if you outlaw the guns, only the outlaws will have guns. So it's essential, and it's become essential, to recognize that firearms are not the sole cause of murder in South Africa. There's very many factors that contribute to this, and we're not going to discuss them now. I think a lot of people can put two and two together, and they can see that a failing government, poverty, inequality, social instability are playing significant roles in these things. And while the debate of gun violence in South Africa persists, it's essential to move beyond simplistic narratives that just solely blame firearms for the country's murder rates. Assigning sole responsibility to an inanimate object, it just oversimplifies the issue, and it fails to address the underlying complexities and social problems that we face in South Africa on a day-to-day basis. Telling the single mom next door that she can't have a gun and expecting her to walk to the bus stop at 4 o'clock in the morning in the dark in the middle of winter and be safe is not the solution. So removing guns from society is not the answer. We have a violence problem, and I think our communities working together to solve these problems is going in the right direction. We're putting a band-aid on a bullet hole. We're just blaming guns.